Hi everyone, you're welcome to the Tailors Hall. Alright, so in this video I'll be showing you a step-by-step approach on how to make this baby girl's ball dress. So if you're a beginner or you are a maker of children outfits, I encourage you to watch, and please watch till the end. And then if this is your first time on this channel, please like and subscribe to this channel. Also turn on your notifications so you know when a new video is uploaded. And here is a special shout out to all our existing subscribers. Thank you so much. You are the best. Alright guys, you're welcome back. So these are the materials we'll be needing. This is organza. You notice that it was net that was used in the style, but my clients that are making this dress for prefers organza. So this is doll face satin, and then the dry lace that we'll be using to make the dress. So let's just get started. So the first thing we'll do is to cut the upper part of the dress. The upper part, I like for children's outfits that the half length should not go down over the navel. It should be at least a little, maybe like 1/2 to 1 inch above the navel. So we cut the half length. That's the half length, which is 11. So I make it 12. The 1 inch is for the sewing allowance. So I've already folded, but the satin is also, I made it the lining. So you can see I folded both the lining and the cloth itself together. Place the front on the back. The back is the one that is a little wider, with that space is for the zip allowance. Okay, so we'll cut it together. The only thing that will be different is the depth of the neckline. Alright, so I go ahead and measure the shoulder. Our shoulder is 11 with sewing allowance. I make it 6, that's 12 inches. Then the neck should not be too wide because it's a child. This neckline now, I made it 2 1/4 so that by the time I sew, it will come back to about 5 inches for the width. I go ahead and measure the armhole length. Okay, if you don't want children's clothes, it should not be exposing some parts of the armpits. I like it to sit well around the armpit, and it shouldn't be too tight as well, so there should be the right proportion. Okay, so under the armhole length, measure the bust line, add sewing allowance. Okay, also go ahead and measure the waist, also add that allowance, and then the sewing allowance. Please remember that all this the horizontal measurements should be divided into 4. For example, if the bust of the child is 20, it should be divided into 4. What you should be measuring should be 5, then with sewing allowance. So now, if you're a beginner, you can, this is the way I've always said it, for the armpits and even the neckline, and you don't have a ruler, a curved ruler, just draw an L and put an arc at that angle. Do the same for the neckline. The depth of this neckline is 2.5 inches. Okay, as you can see, just put an arc as well at that angle if it's a round neckline. Okay, so then, I remember I told you the back will be higher. That is it. The back is just 1 inch deep. Okay, so when we're cutting it, we'll just have to raise the front up. Also, at the end of the shoulder, please remove 1 inch to balance the shoulder shape. Okay, so that's about that. So raised, remember, you can cut the back together with the front, but don't cut the front together with the back, else you have, unless you want the back to be low, to be the same thing as the front. So split the back, notch your darts and center placement where you have the center, that's the center, and the zip allowance, also the darts placement. All right, so we are done with this. So the next thing we are going to do now is to cut the lace. I'm going to put the lace on it. So we are going to cut the lace exactly the way we cut the satin. So that's about that. So we go ahead and cut the bottom part now. All right, so this bottom part you can see is folded. I like to call this flare triangle flare. It's also a half circle flare, but the waist here will be very, very wide. Okay, what I do is to make the waist like times 4. If, for example, the waist of the child is 20, I'll make it like, sometimes it's times 3 depending on how full I want it to be. In this style, I made it times 3 of the style. If the waist is 20, I make it 60. All right, so it will be full. So that's about that. So you can see that the waist is really wide, so that by the time we gather it together, it will be full. So I go ahead and place the satin also directly on the organza. Okay, remember that the organza is not the same length as the satin, so I'll make it about, I think, 12 inches for the length. So I raise it up. After I've cut the waist, I measure 12 inches round. Okay, and I cut out the 12 inches. That's for the base. There are 2 steps of that flare, the one on the bottom part and the base, and the one on top. So now we're cutting the one on top. We'll reduce it by 4 inches. Okay, so we'll reduce it by 4 inches, but the waist will be the exact length. Be the width rather. Okay, that's that. So now the next thing we'll do is to go ahead and cut. After we must have cut the upper flare, go ahead and cut the lining exactly the way we cut the main satin itself. We'll cut it the way we cut the main satin itself, and that's it. So the next thing I'll do is to go and cut the remaining things from the upper part. The belt, usually the length of my belt for children ages 5 downwards is about 30 inches. Then the width is 2 inches. It's not a one size fits all. Do what suits you. Okay, if you want the belt to be very long, you can make it longer. If you want it wide, you can make it wider. All right, that's about that. So I go ahead and cut the bow, the band on the waist of the cloth, and that's it's as simple as ABC. Beginners, I keep saying this, do children outfits, do kaftans, do simple style. Make sure you are very, very sound in the foundational level before you proceed to the next level. All right, so I place this lace on the satin like this, and I hold the dart together with the lace. Make sure to sew it round before you do that, so it doesn't slip off, it doesn't go off it. All right, as I'll go ahead now and turn in the belt, and then so that by the time I'll need it, I'll show you. So now I'll show you when that will be needed. Now I've done the darts of the clothes and the lining separately. So we'll go ahead now and join the shoulder to shoulder. Look at it, I spread it, I join the shoulder. Make sure it is equal at that neck area. Join it like that. Okay, join both sides, which will lead us to the turning of the armpits. It will be easy if you spread it like that. It will be easy to be able to turn the armpits well. Okay, so now this is what I'm saying. So what I'll do is now I turn it and sew the armpits. Look at it. Sew the armpits. And after you have sewn the armpits, ensure you notch it round, because if you don't notch it round, it's not going to relax. Notch it, let the notching be close to one another. All right, so that's that. And also, if you want to bring it out, you look at it, you bring out the back from the front. It's easier like that, especially now that the shoulder of this top is very wide. If it is a smaller shoulder, there's a way to go about it, but for this wide shoulder, this is the best that works for me, and I also teach my students to do it this way, and it works really fine for them. Okay, you can see we are done with it. So before we go ahead to sew the sides of this thing, first I mark it. I mark the sides of the top. You must have divided your measurements, all the measurement after you've divided, your measurements into two. So ensure the way I do mine is I spread it, I sew lining to lining and cloth to cloth. But before I do that, I have added the belt. Also ensure that the belt is not going down the line of the up down part. All right, so that's about that. So this is the down part. This is the down part. So what I do to achieve that curving at the side of that dress, I mark the center of the bottom part. I also fold it into four. I fold it into four. So that point where the point where the dart of the left side, wherever you want the curving to be, but I put it on the left side. The point where the dart, I just measured after I folded it into four. I measured one side of one quarter of the dress at the front area. One quarter of the dress at the front area. That is why I shaped that curving. Okay, that's the one that's from the center of the front to the side of one part of the front. That's why I shaped that thing, that curve, that curving at the side. Then I go ahead and cut the lace in a bias cut so that I can use it to fold the edge of the organza. I can use it to tape rather the edge of the organza. All right, so you can see that the upper part is ready with the belt. So is all we need to do now is to join the down part with it. See now, I've taped the what's it called, the lace on the organza. Also, we're going ahead now to do the gathers of the down. So after the gathers, then we'll go ahead and join it to the upper part. All right, here we are. Our dress is almost ready. So you can see it the way it is. So the next thing I do now is to put the zip on the dress. I've also added the lining. I'll go ahead and do the bow and then the net under, so that it can be very, you can bring out the fullness of the. You can see the way I do my net. I cut the flare exactly like that base part. Then I also pleated on the flare, and that's one of the ways I do. There are many other ways you can do it. All right, so now I tack my bow. You can see I've used iron to get the center of the bow. All right, I use my hand to do the gathers of the bow. Okay, then I'll use the stripe, that tiny stripe that I already made. I'm going to use it to wrap it, and I sew it at the part where it's going to sit on the clothes, where the joining is not going to show outside. I fold it on top and use my needle to tack it down. So we're ready. That's that. The dress is ready. All right, thank you very much for watching this video. Beginners, you can ask me anything. You could go ahead and ask me for clarification, more clarification on this dress if you don't understand. All right, if this is your first time on this channel, please do well to subscribe, like, so that YouTube can recommend this video to more people, and share. Thank you very much. Turn on your notifications so you know when a new video is uploaded. Thank you. Bye.